Lord. So today's podcast is slightly different format from my usual podcast format. I have done this kind of format before where two of us that are podcasters have got together to have a conversation. I think we reached out at the same time to each other saying, do you want to be on my podcast? And then just decided that a combination one would be quite a good idea to do. So this is my 105th episodes of my podcast. So there's like 105 episodes of me. Some of them is just me talking shit, and some of them is me having amazing conversations. And today I have Mrs. Brain Trainer, the Queen of Cam, Amanda. Hi, welcome.
Thanks. Hello. I'm so excited about this.
As well. When I was listening to your podcast, I was just like, oh, you've got so many synchronicities. This is fun. This is going to be good. Like, we're very much on the same wavelength, same path, same what's the word, message.
Yes.
Yeah, very much.
I find that actually, like, a lot of people that I meet, we're all sort of trying to get the same destination. We're just doing it in different vehicles.
Yeah. So why don't we not start off then with you introducing yourself?
Okay, so I am the Queen of Cam. On paper, that means a clinical hypnotherapist. I am a mother of a 17-year-old girl. I was a young parent, and I just love to help people. I am very passionate about giving everything I've got because I've changed so much, like, over the years, and I'm just like, you need to have this, like, especially young people. I'm very, very interested in teaching our young generation how to keep calm, relax, love yourself. Like, I'm all about that journey, motivational stuff. I love, I just basically help other people is what gives me a high.
Yeah. You said when we were chatting before this, that's your drug of choice.
Oh my God, I know I was going to say that there, and then I'm like, I'm not promoting drugs, guys.
Drugs are for mugs.
But it is, Jen, like, literally.
There isn't any high like it though.
Nah, when you've got a wee boy, give you a good example. If you've got a wee boy who walks in your door at 8 years old who thinks he cannot do something, you work with him, and 6 weeks or so later, he does his sports thing and he runs in your door and tells you, I did it with a gold medal. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think that you can.
You can't.
It doesn't get much better.
No, there's definitely not.
And you know, there's so many people that's came to me about you in the past week or so, and they're like, oh my God, I know Jen. I went to one of Jen's classes. Jen's amazing. Jen's so nice. Like, why do you do what you do? And what do you do?
So I wrote a book called 9 Rules to Sort Your Shit. I am also a Pilates teacher, a yoga teacher, massage therapist. I did my NLP training, and I did my TQFE, so that's the teaching qualification for further education, back in 2014, and I haven't done anything with it, but I was recently approached by somebody to ask if I would run some teacher trainings for them. So I've just done my assessor's course, so from 2021 I'm going to start delivering some teacher trainings for them, yoga and possibly Pilates as well. Which,
so
when he first asked me, it was really interesting because my negative, you're not good enough to do this, very quickly was the first thought of, oh no, I know people that are better than this than me. And then I was like, no, hang on a wee minute, Jen,
shut it.
and I do that. And for me, I know that the best way for me to learn even deeper is to teach other people. So everything
100%.
that I do is something that I've experienced, that I go, oh, that's worked for me, why don't you not try it? And that's what I want to do when I'm helping people. So with the yoga, with the Pilates, with the stuff that I've written about in my book, it's all wee tools and techniques and things that I've done that I'm just desperate to share with other people so that they can, because like you're saying, there's no better buzz
Oh
than
my God.
feeling a sense of achievement. And it's great to feel that sense of achievement for other people, but when you can feel it for yourself and not let the negative part of your ego kick in and go, really, you think you're good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Which that was a very loud voice for me for a long, long time. And I've had to work really hard that I've been able to go, do you know what? I'm not listening to you anymore, because I'm allowed to be the best version of myself and not feel bad about it. Without
it's like that permission thing.
Yeah, and I've had always been very scared of being like that because I was scared of coming across as being arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure some people might listen and go, she's being arrogant, because that's their belief system and that's their narrative of the world or whatever. But it's not coming from it. For me, it's not coming from a place of arrogance. It's coming from a place of genuine, oh my God, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can feel like this. Like we were speaking about this before. Like everybody can feel like this. So why do they not?
Another way to say what I do is I teach people how to, I retrain your brain, right? So I'm called Mrs. Brain Trainer because my surname's Trainer. I'm a hypnotherapist, I do NLP, and I train the brain to go in a different direction. And I'll, like yourself, I did this through experience. So everything I promote, everything I talk about, it's all because I can come from a place. It comes from an authentic place because it worked for me, which is the only, for me, authenticity is that's the gold. Like that's where you have to be, and when you're there, you can do anything and get over absolutely anything. Working with a lot of people just now who are needing and looking for that permission thing, the self-love thing, and they come for a session and they're like, I don't know what I'm missing here, and I go, well, you just need to love yourself. And they're like, they start to love themselves, and then everything starts working out for them. And it's just like, and it's, you know, your brain's built for survival. It's always going to go to the negative. It's just the way it is. And so we just need to do a wee bit of brain training, and that's what you've did. And you just, I mean, repetition. Tell yourself the same thing enough times and you start to believe it. If you could hear some of the crazy shit I run about my living room saying, you would honestly. But I know it works because the bad stuff used to work, so that means the good stuff works just as powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have a significant turning point where you just thought, enough's enough of that, I need this? Like, what was your inspiration point for change?
I had a few quite big things that happened. So I was given it. So I had my daughter when I was pregnant when I was 16. I had Tegan when I was 17, and literally never had a thing. So I had a baby, a house, and I never had a Scooby-Doo what was going on. I never had much support. And so at 19, I used to go to this young parents group because I was like, if I just keep going to courses, I was clued up enough to know that if I go and get more education at some point, I could go and do what I wanted to do. And so I went to this young parents group, get handed a book on the mind, and literally, boom, that was it for me. The light went on. However, I never took any action. So I read all the books. I studied every bloody personal development guru you could think of. I was Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Oprah Winfrey. You know, I was studying these people day in, day out, but I wasn't taking action. So I had all this knowledge and I talked a really good game, but nothing much was changing. I was a good person, you know, and I was very likeable, but I was in the same environment, the same everything, and nothing much was changing. So when I met my current other half, he was a big turning point in the positive way, in terms of he was the first person to believe in me. So he was like, you're amazing. He's like, you should go and do that, like go and do, oh my God, you'd be great. And I had never heard these things before. And so things did start to change. I started taking a wee bit more action, surrounding myself with people who was kind of on that path as well. Became pal with some life coaches. I'd go to wee events, and I loved the energy of positive people. So I just kept starting to go with how I felt more and moving towards feeling. So what made me feel good, I'd go towards that. If something doesn't feel good, then it is not good. That's what I learned. If it doesn't feel good, it's just not good. But so I, like yourself, I had that self-doubt in myself though, so I wanted to be all these amazing things. I wanted to take over the world and make the place better, but I never had the confidence, I never had the belief in me. But he was slowly building that up, and then by taking more action, that also was sort of building me up. And you know, I was like, I'd love to like work with people and be a coach and this, that, and the next thing. Watched Marissa appear on the YouTube, and I was like, oh my God, that's what I need to be. I need to be a hypnotist, because hypnotherapy goes to the root, and that's the only way to really get it out, is going to the root. So I was like, but that doubt was there. It was like, I've not got enough money. I can't do that. Like, how, I know for me, like, I want to be good enough for that. Like, and I made every excuse in the book. We got pregnant, and when I was near the end of my pregnancy, we had a stillbirth. So we had a wee baby. So this was the biggest, like, this was the part where actually I started to change, like, from that day. So obviously, like, for 2 weeks it was hell. Had to give birth, and we had a funeral, and you know, I kept it very private. It was just me, him, Tegan, my mum. But at the funeral, standing in the crematorium, this wee coffin, and I put a wee note in it, and it was like a wee promise letter, and it was like, I actually get emotional when I speak it.
I'm getting emotional listening to you. Oh, I wish I could hug you right now. Fuck lockdown.
I know. So I don't know what it was, Jet. Well, actually, I've got a theory. You're a woman who likes a theory. My theory is that when I got that book at 19, although I didn't think that was doing anything for me for 7-8 years when I wasn't taking the action, somewhere in there that was programming me. It was making me become a positive person. It was working on my mind, and I honestly put that down to how I was able to handle what happened to us in such a strong sort of a way. So basically at the funeral, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I think it was the promise letter, and the promise letter basically said, your life will matter. And so I was like, I'm going to use this. So obviously you've got two choices at this point. We could have easily jumped off a bridge. Easy, do you know what I mean? But I had Tegan to wake up to every day type of thing as well. And it was like, when you don't have a choice, us humans, like, just, I don't know, we've got an ability to just, we can get on with it, you know?
Yeah.
So at the funeral, it was weird. I was walking out the crematorium and I googled hypnosis courses, because I was telling, well, the message in my head was saying, if you can do this, you're freaking fearless. Like, what could possibly happen to you that you could not get through, type of thing. So I was like, it was fueling me, do you know what I mean? I was like, I can do anything. And so booked the course, got an interview, told my story, and she's like, I just wanted to get you in. You know, some people that have been through traumas, they can be quite you know, we just want to make sure you're ready for this. So she obviously heard my story and she's like, wow, like that's amazing. Obviously I then had a year of counselling and that was all very good. But for that day, I just became this force and I was like, your life will matter. And I don't know, I just think we've got so much untapped potential. And my whole thing is that I don't feel that we should wait for tragedies to get our shit together.
Yeah.
And so one thing led to another, and I believe that as difficult as it is for me to say this, I truly believe that it's mapped out. I definitely think that that was supposed to happen because for whatever reason, I obviously don't know the exact reason, but it made me become a better person, a better mother. It made me get rid of a lot of unnecessaries.
Yeah.
And it really just puts life into perspective, and you're just like, does that really matter on the grand scheme of it, you know? And I became this, I don't even know how to describe myself, but one good thing happened after another after that. Got this mentor who came into my life who was just, she's the most amazing, incredible person. She opened doors for me that it just wouldn't have happened, kind of thing. And so much good has came from that. She gave me the confidence, she gave me the platform to kind of blossom. We connected so deeply, and she was just like, took me under her wing, and honestly I owe so much to her. She's just incredible. But things just went from good to better. Like, I just started applying myself, helping people. I did a lot of practicing for, like, where she would supervise me. She opened her practice doors up to me. And you know, I've done course after course over the years, and just I've constantly been growing and learning. It's my favourite thing to do is to learn. So that was the biggest part, to go back to your question. That was the big changing point where I was just like, life's so short, man.
Yeah.
And that made me see that so clearly, and it was like, you've got to grab it and just go for it. And I don't know, I just love what I do so deeply. Like, I'm just seeing people succeed, and all these people I used to read about in books who would say, oh, people come up to me in the street and maybe say, oh, you've changed my life, you've did it. And I used to think, wow, that must be awesome. And without sounding, it's not in an egotistical way, but this is now my life. People are saying this to me like numerous times a day, and it's just like, I'm just wee Amanda from Red Road Flats. And it's just to say, like, and you're just wee whoever's, you know, this change is possible for anybody. And I believe so much, and I've got this detector for greatness. Like, I can just see good, great people, and I think everybody's got good in them. We just get muffled along the way sometimes with whatever life curveballs. So that was another wee roller coaster.
It's amazing how some of the most horrific and tragic things that happen can also be one of the best gifts.
100%. I feel so lucky to have had that wee boy.
Yeah.
First, like, obviously I feel lucky for the obvious reasons, but he's helped me become this person.
Yeah.
As well as my daughter.
His spirit is always with you. Like,
100%.
His spirit's always in your heart.
So no matter what I do, he's at the back of my mind, and it totally drives me. I basically turned his death into the most driven experience of my life. Yeah.
That is such a powerful story, and I wish I could hug you. I will hug you one day when we're allowed.
I would love to also know when you get started in this sort of a line of work and why, and if there was any big ahas or turnarounds for you.
So when I left school, I picked my career choice based on the fact that, because I had no idea what I wanted to do. When I went along to, they used to have these big expo things in the SEC where you'd go along and all the colleges and unis would be there to try and like pitch their courses. And I was talking to this guy from one of the colleges who was talking about a travel and tourism course, because I wasn't good at school. I wasn't interested in school. I was like, I have not got a clue what I want to do when I leave. And because I was the youngest in my year, I had to stay on for 5th year. So I had to do some hires. But when I went along to this event, this guy was like, oh yeah, the travel and tourism class, at the end of the year, they get taken to Spain on a holiday for a week. And I was like, that sounds like the course I want to do. That sounds like a great career choice. I'm going to do that. The first time I went abroad was 1990. So I was just going into high school at that point. And that was the first time I'd ever been abroad. And I remember we went to Spain on a bus. And I remember driving through France and down and into Spain and just being like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like the visuals, the experience, people speak different, people dress different, culture's totally different. So went and did travel and tourism, and I did that, but I'm the type of person that gets really bored really quickly. So I would learn something, and then once I learned it, I'm like, right, you need to teach me something else, right, you need to teach me something else. So when I left college, I got a YTS job, which was like the youth training scheme, so you get paid 45 quid a week to go and be in full-time employment and get taught, like deliver, like you did a 2-year course with it. So when I went into the second year, the new first year that came in, I was asked by my manager to train them. So I was always teaching. So as soon as I started in my working life, it was like, you're being taught something, now go and teach somebody else. You're being taught something, now go and teach somebody else. So I was really fortunate to experience that.
That's amazing.
But over the years, it was always me that taught the next first year that came in. So I was always getting that wee person to mentor, that wee person to nurture
I love
and
that.
teach. So that was really amazing. And then when I went, I got really fed up with the travel industry, did go overseas and worked overseas, and I lived in Australia for 3 years. And when I was out there, I had started going to the gym quite regularly, and the gym that I had gone to, I'd been given a personal trainer, like for a part of your membership sign up, you got 3 sessions with a personal trainer. And I was kind of watching what they were doing, and I was like, I quite fancy doing that, because I'm seeing how my body's changing when I'm doing this, and I'm seeing what you're doing, and I could do that, and I could probably do it a wee bit better than you're doing it. No offense, sister. But he was an interesting character, because he would come into this PT session and he'd be like, I've got my silk shorts, my silk pant boxers on today, my shorts keep going down, and you're like, that's not appropriate, mate. That's totally not appropriate. So when I was coming back home from Australia, I thought, right, now is the perfect opportunity. I'm going back. I don't have a job. I don't have anything. I'm going back for the summertime so I can start college in the September, because I'd only been to college and did a national certificate the first time round. I still had my full 5 years of SQA funding to go on to full-time education. So I had been in contact with a couple of the colleges while I was in Australia to say, this is what I'm interested in doing. Went to North Glasgow College, which was Springburn College, and the senior lecturer was just like, we'd love to have you on the course. So I then started doing health, fitness and exercise, and I studied that for 2 years. And when I knew that I was starting that at college, I thought, I want to start working in the industry straight away. Don't have the qualification, so I can't set up as a personal trainer or do fitness instructor or anything, but I'm really strong administration skills. So I started then looking for an administration job within that kind of environment. And I managed to get an admin job with a small like Pilates studio, doing admin for them. The woman that I worked for was very, she didn't believe that I needed to have the qualification before I could start doing what I was doing, because she had worked in the industry for so long, and the industry is very unregulated. So technically and legally, you don't need the qualifications to start training clients, which I didn't know because I hadn't worked in the industry. So she would be like, you want to take the warm-up for this class? Do you want to take the cool down for this class? Can you come and start that person's personal training session and I'll jump in? And then sometimes she would never appear for it. So although she'd employed me to do administration, I was actually getting hands-on experience from day one of doing this, which was brilliant for me. So I worked for her, and that she was the reason that I did my Pilates qualification. I did that, and then through college I then was introduced to other things. I then left working for her because I wanted a bigger variety of things. I wanted to teach indoor cycling, so like spin classes. I wanted to do this, wanted to do that, and I just wanted to get as much experience across the board as I could. And then while I was at college, Brian Costello, who's been on my podcast, he's an NLP coach, and he had come to college to do this talk to us. And his talk was all about having these bungee cords attached to your back, and some of them were so thick that they stopped you from moving forwards, and you needed to just cut them so that you could take the next step forward. And I'm listening to him and I'm thinking, this is really interesting. Now, at this time, I'm married to a lovely guy. He's Australian. He was really, I could see that he was really unhappy here. And I was like, oh, hang on. I can't be married anymore. Like, Jake needs to go back to Australia because that's where he wants to be. Like, he was a surfer. He used to go out surfing every single morning. Can't do it when you live in Springburn. The duck pond doesn't have any waves. So, and he had like started smoking loads of weeds, and he was becoming more and more insular, and I was like, you're not happy here. I'm not happy seeing you not being happy. You need to go back to Australia. And I'd had tried to have that conversation with him about a year previously, but I didn't have the right language for it. I didn't have the right understanding of what we were trying to say. And it was that conversation that Brian had with us that I was just like, that's one of the bungee cords, because I feel bad because he feels bad, but I don't want to feel bad because actually the rest of my life's amazing and I'm progressing forward and I'm doing something else that I love, and he's not. He feels really stuck. So I then had to force that conversation, and obviously it happened after we'd had a few drinks at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Standard,
but I was just like, that, we can't do this anymore. You have to go back home to Australia. So we had that conversation and agreed.
Was that really apparent that that's what had to change for you? Or was it like a light bulby thing that just came on?
It had been apparent. So before we had left Australia, he was getting unwell. He was like really stressed. And I had said to him, I was like, do you want to come back to Scotland with me? Because he'd lived here before. We'd met when we lived in Greece, and he had lived here for a few years, and then we'd gone to Australia for a few years. So he had lived here and he had friends and stuff, but he wasn't connecting with them. And before we had left Australia, and he had been really unwell and he was losing loads of weight, and they thought it was a thyroid problem, and I was like, no, this is stress. Like, are you sure that this is what you want? And be like, yeah, it'll be fine. And he kind of dismissed it. And then not long, we got home in the August, and I had a conversation with one of my best friends in the December, and I had said to him, I was like, that I think my marriage is going to end. And he was like, no, don't be silly, everything's going to be fine. And I kind of put it back to the back of my mind, and then it was the October.
Right, you've had Brian.
Nearly, I feel it was the September. Brian came to the college to speak. 2 weeks later, me and Jake had that conversation, and he went back.
Was that quite fast then? Did they just like literally go after it?
It was a month. It took a month, because when we decided it, the next morning I'm straight on the phone to the travel agents. When can we get a one-way flight to Australia? My husband needs to go back. And she's like, are you going to be joining them? And I went, no. And it was just, I had gone into this place of, we need to get this sorted. You need to get a flight home. So we had booked a flight for like the 21st of October or something. Now, my mum and dad were going on holiday for the school October week, which usually happens around the 10th. And I knew that if I had told my mum and dad what was happening, they wouldn't have gone on holiday. So we then had to keep that quiet until my mum and dad went on holiday and came back. And then when they came back, I then went, by the way, Jake's going back to Australia. But when he had told his mum had loads of frequent flyer points with Qantas, so she was like, I'll get you a business class flight back so that you can pack more of your stuff and all that. But it ended up, it was like the beginning of November before he went back, because she kept getting put on wait lists for these flights, and it was getting to the point I was like, I need to know what date that this is happening, because at the moment it's all just in limbo, and we can't have this situation in limbo, because it's in my head. Like, we need it. So eventually he did go then at the beginning of the November, and I was like, it's the right thing to happen, it's going to make us both happier. And again, I was still in this mode of everything's okay. And one of my friends, she had split up with her boyfriend at the summer, so she ended up moving in with me, and we were in the Arches every single weekend. I was like, can you get like a frequent like visitor pass for here? Like, can I get a season ticket? Because I'm in here every week and I'm spending like 25, 30 quid a ticket. I want discounts for all this. They said no. But we would go out, and sometimes we would be in the Arches Friday night and Saturday night. So we were out absolutely wasted Friday night, Saturday night. We would have beer for breakfast in the morning if we didn't need to drive anywhere. Like, it was messy. And we did that for a good 8 or 9 months solid, where we just partied. Everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine. And then she was going away with her family for a weekend, and I was sitting sorting out a playlist for a class, started dragging the music into the file box in iTunes, and then all of a sudden I just burst into tears. And for the whole weekend I just cried and cried and cried, and I'm like underneath the kitchen table going, what the fuck's wrong with me? Why am I crying? Why am I crying? So I'd then messaged Brian, and I was like, I've started crying for some reason and I'm not really sure why. And he's like, your marriage ended like 8 months ago, could be something to do with that. Really? So I had a conversation with him, and we ended up getting together, and he did a lot of NLP work with me while I personal trained him, so we had a nice wee spot there. That. So all that NLP work started helping, uncovered, unravelled things, all the times that I didn't believe in myself, and trying to remember all the times that I did, so that's what I was re-imprinting to help move that forward. And then Brian had asked me if I wanted to do the NLP practitioner course, as I was like, this stuff's amazing, my clients need this, because I had loads of clients that would come and they would never lose weight, or they would start losing weight and get to a certain point and then just disappear off the radar. And then the next time you saw them, they were as unfit as they had ever been, and maybe heavier than they had ever been, and I was like, what is going on with them? But they were getting stuck in these wee cycles of their bungee cord wasn't getting cut. They didn't have that belief to help them move forward, and they were getting stuck in that. So when I then started learning the NLP stuff, and I could have better conversations with people, a lot of time, quite often my clients will come along, and when we're working one-to-one, a lot of the time is spent us having a conversation. It's not them doing any kind of work or any kind of fitness. And it's
my mentor, she used to say to me, honey, most of the work's done in the chairs. Like when you're sitting talking, it's not the hip. No, a lot of it's you're priming the brain, you're prepping, you're exciting the subconscious, and you're giving it metaphors or whatever you're kind of doing for it to let go.
Yeah, 100%.
Love it. NLP is amazing.
Yeah,
so good.
So that was like the sort of trigger point into this part of the journey, and then there's been ups and downs all along it.
Have you is there like a grieving process to like a marriage breakup? Like how did you do you feel like did you go through a whole process with that?
Yeah, there is definitely. What I had done at the start was I didn't allow myself to grieve, because I didn't think, because it was logically, it was the right thing to do for both of us. So I didn't let myself feel sad about it. I didn't let myself, and because it was a joint agreement, there was no anger towards anybody, so I couldn't feel angry, even though I did feel angry because he walked away and left, you know, and didn't say, I really want to stay here, but I need to go. Like, nothing was said. It was just like, bye. And that was it. So there definitely was a grieving process, but I had to be taken to it. And that's what the work that I did with Brian. And we were together, me and Jake had been together for, I don't know, 7.5, 8 years or something like that. And then just for it to end like that. So I after we split up, I was single for about 6.5 years before I was even, and even then I wasn't on the radar for letting somebody in. When Chris came into my life, and he's my partner now, when he came into my life, I was just like, oh yeah, we're just hanging out, we're just seeing how things are. And we started hanging out and seeing how things were sort of July, August time. And it was around the December time I was like that to him, well, so we've had a couple of nights out this weekend, this must be us starting to get serious. And he just looked at me and he's like, we've been serious for ages.
That's so funny.
All right.
I love it.
It took such a long time. I mean, my friends used to laugh at me, you go out with this like shield around you. Nobody's getting past that. Nobody's getting past that. You might
been there,
and or you might kiss somebody or whatever, but it was just like not interested, not interested, not interested. Stay away, stay away, stay away. But then he managed to somehow climb over the wall, and I'm like, how the fuck do you think?
I can so relate to that story, and I think actually a lot of people probably will as well. Do you know, I think it's so cool, but like I was listening to your story, and you must have these natural like teaching qualities that people just see and put you there as a leader. And what is it you love about teaching, and what do you do with people now?
I love people's light bulb going on. I love seeing that look in their eye when they're like, oh, right, okay, and finding that belief in themselves about their ability, or if they've been really struggling with, like just now when I'm teaching people how to do a plank or how to do a Pilates move, and you can see in their brain trying to work out because they've maybe never been connected to their body. Like they live in this suit, but they've never thought about how is this arm in space versus this leg in space. Like how do I make some sort of connection, and being able to look at somebody and try and talk them into it and seeing them not get it. So you're like, right, I'm going to video doing this. Right, have a look. This is what you look like when you do this. Now look at how I'm when I do it. Now how can we work this out for you to be able to work this out? Because it could be quite easy for me to manhandle somebody and put them into a position and go, this is the position. And occasionally I do have to do that when we're allowed to touch people, obviously. But it's much more beneficial for somebody to be able to work it out for themselves and then go, oh, right, okay, now I get it. And it's that, oh, right, okay, now I get it. That's what I love seeing.
I love that.
When you can take them there and they learn so much better from that than having that reliance on you moving their body into a certain position or you doing something for them. Is when somebody's teaching me, I can sit and they'll show me and I'll be like, right, okay, I need to do it because I can't do it until I've done it.
That's me. I'm like it's like a practical learner. It's like I need to you can tell me all day long, but unless I do it with my hands or whatever, then it's experiential, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think as well, like what I love most about you is I don't know if it's the most thing, but because there's lots of things, but I love like your communication skills and from the people that have came to me and been like, oh my God, Jen's amazing. Like you're so much more than just a Pilates teacher, or you know, you're like a holistic thing of it. Because it was Paul Shields. I talk about Paul in every podcast because he's like,
because Paul's a rock star when it comes to
it's like a total wee angel that's just fell down from the sky. But he was like, you need to speak to Jen Wilson, like she's amazing. And so then that was me on your grids, and it was like baby Jen in our jammies. I was just like, this woman talks so much sense. And she says it in a way that I want to aspire to say stuff in. and I was just hooked for that. So your communication skills are honestly, I think they're so good. And I think probably your clients get so much more than just exercise from you. Would you agree?
It's interesting when I learn something. I remember being at uni, and when I wrote my essays at uni, I would be like, I feel like I've just totally dumbed down this whole situation because I take something and there's all this jargon and all these big words and I'm like, don't know what any of that means. So I then have to break it down in my head so that I understand what that means, so that then I can relay it. Because I remember when I was at college the very first time, I remember one of the lecturers saying, don't speak to your clients in jargon, because that will make them feel inferior. And that's always stuck in my head. I mean, I see there's amazing coaches out there, but they talk the language of their world.
Yes.
And if you don't know that language of that world, you can be sitting there going, I don't know what they're talking about. Because when I teach a yoga class, I never use any of the Sanskrit names. I can't say most of the Sanskrit names. So it ain't going to happen. I look at it and I go, there's lots of D's and J's and A's and N's in that. I don't know how to pronounce that. So I'm always, I don't want to say I dumb things down, or I don't like the word layman terms, but I break things down in my head so that I get a good understanding of it, so that when I can explain it to somebody, because if you can't break something down and really explain something to somebody, you don't understand it fully yourself.
Yes, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think the master skill there is that the being able to dumb it down. I think that is such a quality skill which I'd like to possess. So I'm going to keep watching your things.
I think somebody said you should be able to teach whatever you're teaching. You should be able to teach it to a 3-year-old, or it might be a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old or something. But it was to a child. So if you can teach this to a child and they understand it, then anybody should be able to understand it. And that's I'm teaching it to the child in my head. How does young me, who didn't believe that I was good enough because all through school I wasn't interested, I wasn't engaged, because they weren't speaking a language that I spoke, they weren't teaching me stuff I was even interested in, and I'm like, what's the point in filling my brain with nonsense that makes no sense?
I don't even remember school like it was that irrelevant. Like, I learned nothing. I couldn't tell you one thing about school, and I don't know whether I put a block there because it was just crap. Like, it just does not interest. I like the people, I like the conversation, I like the interesting chats and learning about things that I like. And I think that's where schools need to seriously update the systems without going down a big rabbit hole, like literally like teach a child what they are interested in. Teach a child about themselves, maybe they would like that.
Yeah, I think the world would be a very different place if we did that.
It would. I mean, have you ever seen that YouTube video of the wee girl, right? Probably know about affirmations and everything. She's about 3 years old. She's in her bathroom. She's going, I love my house. I love my dad. I like my toys. I am good. I am so good. Like, can you imagine who she ends up being in her life? Like, that's what the kids should be doing all day, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about your... Sorry, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, when you're working with clients, do you often see the same patterns appearing that you maybe recognised in yourself?
Yes. I don't know what it is, Jen, but like everybody that I come into contact with, it's as if I know them, and it's only because I A, feel like I know them, I B, feel like I've been sent to them, and I C, I feel like I always know what they need to get them past whatever it is. And I think it all is because of I really understand human behaviour. I've watched myself go through it all, and no matter who comes in to see me, no matter if they have millions of money, a 10-bedroom house, or if they're just my sister, everybody all wants the same thing. So they're all looking for peace of mind. Inner peace. They want relaxation, which none of them are doing, and then I teach them that. They want love, so I teach them, you need to love you first. But they all want the same things. And another thing, which is a pattern, is that no matter what they're in for, it could be anything, it's always self-esteem and confidence. We're always starting there. it's always the root problem, because we've all been bashed along the way. So when we start building at that level, and I know all this because it was like that for me, like, so it is like your question. I kind of know what they want, need, and what works, because I've basically did it all myself, and I've had enough experience to see pattern. I mean, the patterns are ridiculous just in people in general, aren't they?
I know. Where do you think that comes from, that lack of love, lack of self-belief?
All obviously childhood.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I wasn't told to go and have a wee self-care Sunday, or go and tell yourself you're enough in that mirror, Amanda. Do you know what I mean? And it's because of, obviously, you know, they never got it, and they never got it, and it goes down the generations. But I always remember, like, without mentioning names, somebody would say, "You pure love yourself." And so anybody that wore a bit of makeup or like to look presentable, and it was like seen as a negative, right? And then I would come across people for school and they'll go, "You've changed," and I'm like, "It's a compliment, thanks." That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But back then, like, that's what I would say now, but at the time I was like, oh my god, like, as if it was a negative thing.
Yeah.
And I'm all about the whole, our job is to break the fricking cycles. So it's not good enough that my mum would say, "Oh, but it's because your granny was like that." Like, stop the cycle, or your child is downloading that shit. Now, having said that, you can't even get mad at them either, because you're doing your best. Until you know better. When you know better, you do better. And you know, their parents F them up as well. So in the nicest way possible, do you know? And you need to break the cycle. So I'm a huge promoter of, I don't want to be downloading that stuff onto Tegan, who's been the biggest teacher in my life. She's saved me numerous times. It's as if she was definitely sent at 16 to get me through, like. So she teaches you to be selfless. Like, I don't remember life without her. And she teaches you unconditional. She's a mother. She looks after me. She's so, like, emotionally intelligent for a child. I can't remember how I went off on that tangent, but the lack comes from your role models.
Yeah.
And so get better role models, go for it. I'm a big proponent. You need to get mentors into these young people. And even if you can't get an in-person one, I've got about 50 virtual ones. So I'm online. I don't watch the telly, so I just study amazing people. Studying success is one of my first loves. It's what I've did before I got that book. And they all promote, get a mentor. That's the one thing that all of them agree with, is to get yourself a mentor. And that is because you're wanting it, obviously, because you're wanting somebody who's in a position where you want to be, first of all. These people really want to help and give, like, is what I've found along the way. People don't, why would they want to talk to a wee boring old me? But they do, because they want to pass that on.
The same as we do.
So, it's exactly that. We just want to give, because what's the point in taking it to the coffin? That's something I keep saying. I heard Kevin Hart saying it. I love watching his stuff. But mentors are where it's at, and I don't care if you're still in training. That's even better if you're not even there yet, because they'll open doors quickest way up the ladder, I feel. And you're learning from mine was extraordinary. I feel like I was so lucky, and she was such gold, like, high standard. Like, everything that woman did, she did because she knew I was watching. How she spoke to people, how she treated others. I used to leave her practice and I felt $1 million. She made me feel, and that's what I want to do, and I have since then took on 2 young girls who I mentor, and that's what I hope to give to them as well, and they're doing great, and it's just all about passing it on.
Yeah. Do you think that the younger generations are waking up faster? Like when I look at people that are 17, 18 and I'm thinking, gee man, you've got more wisdom than I did at that age.
Aye, they're bold.
But I think, because I sometimes wonder, I'm like, why would anybody want to bring a child into this world? This world's fucked up. But then when I look at how they are switching on and they're becoming wiser much faster, and I don't know if it's because of the internet or if it's because the generation before has learned the lessons and they're passing them on. And everybody is actually learning, maybe not at the high speed that we would like them to, but do you notice that, or is that just me making stuff up?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's because of Google. Of course you're going to be wiser if you can punch literally anything, although it's not accurate information you're going to always receive back, but it's so easy to get information, and that's, I mean, I've got a really love-hate relationship with the internet. Having a daughter who's stuck to her phone is not fun. Like, it breaks my heart, and it's probably my fault because you get them these phones, but she doesn't watch TV, which is quite good, and she's quite switched on, but it's because the internet. So the internet, obviously you've got the bad side.
Yeah.
But if you've got bad, then there must be good. So I choose to look for the good. And the good thing about the internet is YouTube is how I changed. Like, YouTube is your friend. Like, if you need to learn anything, YouTube it, and you'll basically get shown exactly how to do it. So people use excuses, but the information's out there. Yeah. Like, it just is. That's the reality. That the problem is taking the action and the belief that you can just take that wee step. Do you know what I mean? Just try. Yeah. If I had a name on my gravestone, it would be I was a trier, because I'll try anything.
That's brilliant. Mine is curious. Like that. I always ask my mum, like, what was I like when I was wee? Because, you know, people say, think back to what you were like when you were really young, and that's who you are more at your true essence. And my mum's like that. You were stubborn and strong-willed, but curious.
I love that.
I was really curious, and I'm still, if somebody gives me an answer that doesn't ring true for me or doesn't fully explain what it is that I'm asking, I'm like, no, tell me more. Like, make me understand, because just because isn't a good enough reason.
I like that. And I think when you're speaking to someone as well, when you are truly interested and like you're just constantly digging deeper, I think that's one of the most beautiful exchanges you can actually have with a person, because they're curious. Like, people like that. They like people that want to know more, and vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. How important is having accountability to you?
And now I'm so well trained, I have to admit, like, that I've got myself into right good habits. Life's all about good habits, because when shit hits the fan, you're bouncing to default, and if your default shit, then your life is not going to feel good. It's going to be ugly. But if you've got good habits there, then you'll be still all right. You'll bounce back faster. So accountability is powerful. I never really done well with that. I hate having to answer to people, probably. So do you mean accountability in terms of having a person there that you need to report back to about doing certain things?
Either. Because some people say that they need that external accountability, and then other people are just like, I can hold myself accountable if I let myself down.
I've been in two sides of the coin, and it's much easier to hold yourself accountable, actually, but you can only get to that point when you really like who you are, when you, like, see if I'm eating bad, Jen, like, I get so, like I care a lot about feeling good. Like, I put a lot of energy and time into feeling good, because in order for me to help somebody get out their position, I need to be in a good psyche, energetically driven space. So see when I'm falling off wagons and eating Krispy Kreme and then a chippy and whatever, I get quite, not upset, as a bit dramatic, but I don't like it because I feel like I know better, and to fuel my body and for me to be happy, like I need to be doing the right things. However, accountability for somebody starting out on the journey of self-discovery or whatever is so valuable, and if you've got resources that can do that for you, then 100%. Like my PT's pure. She's like she takes no prisoners, and I like that, and I actually do need it in that respect, and the fitness side of things. So I think it has its place. What about you? What's your experience with it?
Same. It depends on what avenue of my life and where I'm at mentally. Like there are sometimes I can just, my to-do list's enough accountability for me.
Yeah.
And then there are other times I need somebody being like that. Have you done that yet, Jen? Have you done that? Or I need to say it out on social media, or I'm going to have this done by this date so that it's done.
I actually relate to the list thing and the social media thing, and Paul actually has been great for me in terms of, he's basically like, here's a list, and he sends me and he checks up on me and he's like, can you send me that? It's bloody great. So and for podcasting, oh my god, because I'm such a busy pair, like I've got a lot going on, like having him there to send me, can you send that, can you do that, I think that's amazing. I'd like to talk about your, sorry, say that again.
No, I said we definitely need it for some avenues.
Yes, aye. So some I think there's definitely got its place, but others, then we're responsible for our own lives. We need to just face the facts with that. Other people do not make you feel a certain way, but they do, and we like to say, oh, I see myself this way because such and such, but actually Wayne Dyer, your own Soane's audiobook's only like an hour and 13 minutes. It's worth a listen to anybody who's maybe been self-rejecting themselves, or hate my legs, hate my height, hate my eyes, hate my hair. Like, stop doing that shit. And you're responsible, so it's not about how other people see you, like it's about how you see and speak to yourself. That's the most, because nobody's words are more powerful than yours. So yeah, that's how I think with being responsible, you just have to, and see, until you get to that space, then you're just going to keep having to relearn lessons, and they'll just keep coming up. They'll show up, and I learned it. I wish somebody told me that earlier. For years, I was making the same mistakes, honest to God, and it was mostly money mistakes, because I basically didn't have any, and I wouldn't pay my bills though, and I would, go and party and do silly things, and I would never learn my lesson. But I was doing partying and all that because I was trying to escape how shit my life was. But that's another rabbit hole. But I kept getting these lessons come up and up and up, and it wasn't until probably maybe about 9 years ago I started being like, right, so when you take the lesson and you apply it, that stops happening. That was a revelation.
Penny dropped.
And it's so bloody self-explanatory as well, but
I think when you realise it, you go, that's so obvious. Like,
how
did I not know that?
I want to know more about your you talk a lot about Crohn's and something you've been battling. When did that happen for you?
I got diagnosed in March 2017.
Okay. So and did you never have any stomach issues or anything before that?
Biggest surprise in my life. When I went to the GP and I was like having these issues, and I was explaining to him my symptoms, and he went, I think you've got inflammatory bowel disease. And I just kind of looked to him, I was like, I don't really know what that is. I'll need to go and Google that when I come out of here. But he's like, we won't know until we've done some tests. So I went away and I Googled what inflammatory bowel disease was, and it was like to keep it settled, you want to be eating the rainbow, make sure you exercise every day. There was some basic stuff, and I'm looking at it going, I do all that stuff, so there's no way I can have this. No, he's certainly plums. He's made.
And I question everybody.
And then he came back and went, oh no, your inflammation markers are really high. We're going to need to send you in for a colonoscopy, to put a camera in to have a look to see what's going on. So from, when was that? I went to see him, saw the GP at the beginning of February 2017, and it was the beginning of March 2017 that I had the colonoscopy, and they confirmed that I had Crohn's colitis. I had inflammation and ulcers all through my colon. So that was like quite a shock to my system, because I used to teach 20 plus classes a week.
Wow.
7 or 8 of them would have been spin classes. Then there was Pilates and other types of fitness classes on top of that. Plus I would go to the gym and do workouts, and I walked everywhere as well, because I would be in the city centre and I'd be at one end and then that end and all over the place. So I went from that to not being able to teach anything at all. I used to be 65 kilos fairly consistently. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I dropped down to 51 kilos.
Wow.
Which, I'm 5'8.5", so it's like pretty dangerously light. The consultant was like, we're going to have to put you on this medication, we're going to have to do this to try and calm the inflammation down and get things under control. And I would just sit and like whatever, man, I just need this pain to stop. I just need to stop going to the toilet, and just need to, this is no good. So I responded to the medication that they put me on really quickly. And I know people that have got Crohn's, and I know people that live with Crohn's that are on no medication at all. So that was my focus point. They're not on medication. That's where I want to be. So as soon as all my inflammation markers started going down, I started asking at the hospital. I was like, I want to come off my medication, I want to come off. And they were not keen for me to come off the medication. They were just like, no, you really should stay on it. We don't know how stable you are. But when I spoke to the consultant, and I'd stayed stable for a good 6 or 8 months, and he's like, the disease is silent in your body. We'll try and see how you are coming off the medication. But obviously, if things start to reverse, we'll need to put you back on. So that was fine. I went a whole year without any medication. I'd done lots of things. I'd been taking a step back and looking at, right, I have this thing. What is it? How does it happen in your body? What causes inflammation in your body? What causes that to go out of control? Things like not getting enough sleep. I used to sleep maybe 4 hours a night if I was lucky, because the way my work schedule was, I would be teaching classes until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I'd have that buzz of having taught a class, come home, I'd have some dinner, I'd faff about on the computer, I would maybe be getting to bed midnight or after, and then I would be back up to teach another class at 7 o'clock the next morning. And then my day would continue, and I'd be out and about running all over the place. So sleep deprivation is a major player on causing causing inflammation. Chronic stress, although I didn't feel stressed, the physical stress of doing exercise and the bottling up of emotions, although I had done all this work with Brian and stuff, there was still a lot of emotions that I hadn't dealt with, because I didn't know that they were there, that needed to be dealt with. All of that being swallowed down and having all these distractions causes inflammation in the body as well. So when I then started realising the psychological impact of all this stuff on my physical body, I was like, oh, right, okay. So I was dealing with that, and I think I went for other hypnosis sessions and went for other things and dealt with a lot of stuff. And then in January last year, my gran passed away, and it was quite quick from her going in. She went into hospital on the 1st of January, and then the 10th of January, she had died. And it was like, she was going to get out the other day, and then she just very suddenly turned and she passed away. But when she was told that she was getting out, she was told that she was going to have a nebulizer and she was going to be on oxygen in the house. And she was somebody who was very independent. At 90 years old, she used to still go down to Galoni's in Kirkintilloch to meet her pals and have tea and all that. And the thought of being stuck in the house all day, every day, on oxygen and on a nebulizer, she just went, no, I'm not doing that. I'm checking out of here, see you later, guys. Which I can see and I can laugh about now, but that was, my gran had been hugely influential in my life, and you go, it's great that she lived to 90 and I had her in my life for 40 years, but the double-edged sword of that is she was in my life for 40 years and then now she's not. Oh my God. So that caused me to go into another flare. So 2019, I was worse than I had been the first time rounds, because I didn't know that I was in flare to start with, because I didn't know the symptoms of it coming up. I didn't know that fatigue was a symptom. I knew that there were symptoms, but I didn't know what order they came in. So I was experiencing really bad fatigue, and instead of resting, I would just keep pushing through, because I didn't know how to deal with grief. Although I had been through that stuff with my marriage ending, I didn't know how to grieve the loss of somebody, because at 11 years old, I learned if you just keep busy, you don't need to deal with it. So I was trying to do that, but what was happening is I was getting all these signs and all these signals, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm in a really bad flare here, and then had to go back to scratch of going back onto medication. But I'm really sensitive to medications. The steroids that they put me on were making my bowels worse, because they flood your body with cortisol, which is one of the stress hormones, but they do that to dampen your immune system. But what was happening is it was actually making my symptoms worse. So when you go on them for Crohn's, you start off on a 7-day course and then have to gradually wean yourself off them. You can't just stop taking them. I was having sleepless nights and getting a bit manic and not being able to eat and not being able to even string a sentence together. And I was like, you need to get me off this medication really quickly. So I went on to another medication, which has helped gradually dampen it. But because I'm trying to, what I've realised more recently is because I'm trying to cling on to, this is an emotional problem, so I need to deal with all my emotional stress, and I won't get better until I've dealt with all the emotional stuff. That's prolonged me being stuck in this illness. And I think I said when we were chatting last week, I only had this light bulb moment like two weeks ago of, oh, I know why I'm still ill, because I think I need to deal with all that first, and I'm holding on to the illness while I deal with that, rather than allowing my body to get better. I was listening to Eckhart Tolle in that New Earth book, and he was in the audio, he talks about a woman who was saying, like, what do I do about the illness? Because he says, don't feed your illness with constant thoughts and constant power. It's like, a thing to say to yourself is, I am in a process of healing and I'm doing everything I can, and I'm getting towards a good place. So I've got this written down and we post-it notes everywhere to remind me I am healing, I'm in a place, and then I can let go of that. It's like, yeah, there is still emotional stuff that I need to deal with, but I'm working on it, but I need to let my body to heal so that it goes hand in hand with each other.
I find it so fascinating and very impressed that you totally accept that. I fully believe all physical things are emotional things, right? And things, for want of a better word. And I believe that, when we're repressing, so whatever you're talking about when you were 11, that you've learned to just press that down, go on with it, kind of thing. My belief is that when we repress, it's everything's energy, right? Anxiety's energy. Emotions are energy. If you're angry, that's an energy, and we're repressing all of this stuff. And this stuff, it has to go somewhere. So it's going to manifest in another way. I fully believe that. It's going to manifest in anger. It's going to manifest in dis-ease. It's going to manifest in anxiety. And I definitely think that links emotional trauma 100,000,000% links to physical ailments. Are you wholeheartedly set on that? That's what this, because see, in my industry they say IBS comes from anxiety, like being an anxious child.
Yeah.
And you're constantly, I don't know if it's being so tense, so I don't know why they say it. I've never really delved into it too much, but it's about relaxing more, I suppose. Must be a big thing for you. Does that massively help?
Yeah, and relaxing is something that I have to work at. It doesn't come naturally to me because I am naturally a doer. I've read a lot of Brené Brown work, and she's like, first child is normally more type A, action taker, doer, fixer, that kind of on the go. And I used to think that if you were relaxing, you were lazy. That was like a story I was telling myself.
You believe.
And probably projecting out into the world as well at that point of, rest days are for the week. I mean, I worked in the fitness industry, which was a go hard, go home kind of message that was very, very intense there. Like, you'll sleep when you're dead, all that kind of stuff was always in my head, and I lived by that kind of attitude. But I've gone off on a tangent. I can't remember where I was going with that.
Relaxing. We were just saying.
So I quite often have to get something external to help me relax, whether it's a guided meditation or whether it's a piece of music. And I now, when I do my meditation in the morning, I do a chant meditation because that's a distraction to get me out of my head. I've been learning a lot with Ram Dass recently, and he's like, the chants are a tool, the beads are a tool, the yoga's a tool, everything is a tool to help you get to this place of calm and quiet and being, and you use all the tools you need until it becomes a much more natural process. And he was doing this for like 40 years and still going, I still need my tools. And I'm like, I'm only like 10 years in, oh shit, I need my tools as well. I'm going to need these for a lot longer. For you to be able to down-regulate and relax and switch your brain off. As I know when we spoke last week and you were like, I don't watch TV, the only thing I do is I watch stuff on YouTube, I'm always learning. I can get like that. But if I get like that, my brain's always switched on. I don't relax into it. So I consciously will go to Netflix and I can binge watch a show, but I'm doing it consciously.
That's your switch off.
That's my switch off, because otherwise I've got a whole wall of books. On that whole wall of books, there ain't no non-fiction. Everybody, it's all non-fiction. There is no fiction books here. And I'm like, oh, if I pick up a book to read, I'm educating myself in something, so my brain's still going. I'm not relaxing in a space that I want to be able to relax in. So I have to use external things to help me get there, because it is so beneficial. I got a whoop strap. So a whoop strap measures our heart rate variability. Your heart rate variability tells you when your body's under physical stress. So that uploads every morning, tells me how my sleep's been. It tells me, it gives me data so that I can see, right, I'm in a red day, I need to have more downtime today. I can easily override that feeling of and keep going. Oh, I'm in a yellow day today, right, I need to be conscious of that. Oh, I'm in a green day, that's good, that means I can do a wee bit more. So I then have to use some data to help me recognise these internal signals more, so that I respond to them, rather than going, oh, I'll rest tomorrow, because then tomorrow comes and something else interesting happens that I want to do. With it, like you were saying, the internet, there's so much information there, you can learn anything that you want. And if it didn't make me so unwell to do it, I would sit there and just be like, learn.
Yeah, I'm a woman who should just live in a spa. Like, I'm just getting this bedroom done up. I'll need to send you some pictures, but it's like a proper sanctuary, and like I spend so much time relaxing, and if I'm doing hypnosis with people, I'm away in that trance as well. So you know,
so what do you do to help you relax?
I just am relaxed. I don't know what it I don't know.
Some people are very parasympathetic as their go-to, and other people are sympathetic go-to, and I'm definitely a sympathetic nervous system side.
I've never really thought about it. I love a bath. I love putting my salt lamp on. I love a candle. I love a walk. I love what else do I love? I'm trying to think what I do to just I find YouTube relaxing.
Yep.
Learning, I find
Yep.
learning quite a relaxing experience. But you know, people are really starting to realise now that it's only in a relaxed state that we can heal. And when we're switching that vagus nerve, which is the relaxation response, we are giving our body time to go and heal all our parts. And if I was a doctor, right, and I had a prescription for a Crohn's disease patient, I would go heavy, like times 1 billion on the relaxation. I think that would be the biggest medicine that you could ever have. I would have fasting. Do you ever do fasting?
Yeah, every day.
Fasting, relaxation, and the Wim Hof breathing and cold showers, because that reboots your system. So it's like boom, shot in the system. And in the breathing, my partner told me this and I thought it was excellent. Are you into Wim Hof? Have you heard about him?
I have, and I've tried it, and it triggers panic attacks. It triggers the symptoms of a panic attack. So in my head, I'm like, there's nothing wrong here, what the hell? But physiologically, I am in the state of a panic attack.
That's so interesting. Do you mean like tingles and stuff?
Yeah.
And
tingles in my hands, feet, face, all go pins and needles. My breath starts becoming really short and panicky. Even though my brain is going, this is totally safe, this is totally, it's like, I keep saying to the consultant and the nurses at the hospital, I think there's something wrong in my nervous system, that it's not firing quite right. I don't think my vagal tone is not there. There's something, if we can get my vagal tone functioning better, everything is going to be better. And they just look at me like I'm talking another language, and I'm like,
no, you're the one talking
there's
sense.
research. I'm like, there's research on how connected the vagus nerve is to the gut.
Oh my god!
It goes cranial nerve all the way down into
the gut and the brain. The gut's the biggest thing. Like I am so. I don't know how. Like obviously, you go to medical school. I find this with the fitness industry as well. Sometimes when people go to college or school or uni, it's like that's the only way that they see, and it's like, nah, there's like, oh my god, you need to move. That doesn't fit everybody, do you know? And there's evidence, and it doesn't matter. Like literally, they will, especially medicine. I find that it's stronger there, but. The gut for me is where it all, I mean the mind of course, but the gut is the other mind, and everything is going to stem from there. Health wise, inflammation wise, like, because I suppose it's inflammatory.
Your emotional centre is all down to your gut microbiome, how that bacteria balance is in your gut. If you're suffering from anxiety, depression, anything, eczema, IBS, IBD, it's all coming from an imbalance, and this is fairly new in the last 4 or 5 years, and they don't understand it yet, to be able to go, all right, okay, this is how we're going to try and make things better. Plus you've also got the big pharma control thing, but that's another
investors. but see those tingles and that as well. They can also be signs of deep relaxation. And when you tell me what your experience, I'm actually like, she's actually really good at that. But it's just that it's relatable to some panic attack symptoms as well. But actually, like, that's the symptoms you're kind of going for with this. But so my other half says to me one time, he does the Wim Hof and everything, and I've did it. I don't do it as much as I probably should, but he does it every day, and he's like, what it does is, he says it so well, I think it's good. He says it rips you out of that morning depression, and what he means by that is, see those mornings where you're just like, ugh, do I need to do life today? It's like that breathing. It reboots your system, and it's like rips you out of that thinking, it rips you out of that mode, that state, and I think that's what's so wonderful about it. And of course there's like the multiple immune function benefits, and I promote it all the time, and I'm like, I'm not even doing it anymore, I need to get back on that. But relaxation, I think, for anything is the absolute key, because only then is when your body can go and fix all the bits, when you know you're not planting food on it hour after hour, and when you're not busy doing, then your system gets time to work on the attention that it needs.
Regenerates and rebuilds.
Where are you with it then? And if, like, psychologically, like, with your Crohn's?
Learning patience. I had another test done a couple of weeks ago, and that's come back that the inflammation markers have come down quite significantly from the last test that I'd had, which had only come down tiny amounts. So it's all moving in the right direction, and I'm working with a medical herbalist, so she's given me really powerful herbs that are.
Is it Lucy?
Yes.
I love Lucy. Oh my God.
Lucy as well. Yeah, so
she's so next level.
Yeah, and she has written to my consultant and told him all the stuff that she's given, and like they're quite happy. He's quite happy with what she's given me. But she's not just looking at the Crohn stuff. She's looking at
holistic.
All the sort of the nervous system stuff that I'm like, this is malfunctioning. My dad phoned me on Monday at 9:30 in the morning, because he doesn't usually phone me. So when he phones, I always kind of go, hello, as if what's happened. And I was talking to my mum and dad about this the other day. So my dad had phoned and he's like, I can't hear you. So I was running about the living room and the kitchen trying to get a space where I could get signal. And this was only over the course of maybe 10 seconds. In that 10 seconds, I had already told myself that he was phoning me with some sort of bad news, that somebody had died or something. And I'm like, oh my God, who could it have been? Who could it have been? Who could it have been? So by the time I'm clinging onto the fridge, finding a signal, and he's like, is there any chance that Chris can come and help Brian move house on Thursday? And I'm like, oh, thank fuck, that's all it is. But see, for another hour and a half after that, I was still shaking inside, even though I knew that nothing bad had happened. The whole situation was all in my head. Physiologically, that response had happened. So I was straight on the phone to Lucy. I'm like, see, when you're doing my medicine, you need to give me something to calm these nerves down, because I just leave it out.
Does that relate back to anything where you've had to be like, or it's receiving bad news or something like quite significant?
Well, because I spoke to my mum and dad about it afterwards, and my dad's like, that. Have I ever phoned you with bad news? And I was like, no, that's the weird thing. Like when my gran was in the hospital and my mum and dad were going up, because they got the call from the hospital to say this is her going. It was my mum that had phoned me when they were having to put down their dog. It was my mum that had phoned me when my grandma passed away. It was my mum that had phoned me. So I'm like, oh my God. And I said to my mum last night when I was over for dinner, I went, I know what it is, why I get that fright when my dad phones, because if he's phoning, something's happened to you.
Oh, so that's what you're.
That's what that must be, and I'm like, oh right, I need to deal with that.
My friend, on you go.
No, I was just going to say, my mum said, but if something happened to me, your dad would come to the door, he wouldn't phone you. And I'm like, right, so I'm never answering the door again.
You'd be good to speak to I've got a friend that does these things called a clearing session, and it's like you go down the belief, so it's I think this way because, and you come up with, right, what is that? And then she goes on and on and on, because I had a block with time, so I've not got enough time to do everything, like I don't have enough time, and she's like, I feel this way because, and it ended up darting a wee back to, you know, laziness and all this sort of stuff, and I was like, wow. But it's just about, I dig into, I feel this way because, and literally that's all she kept repeating, and it took me back and all kinds of stuff, and then we reframed it, and it was like, actually I totally seen time in a different way by the time I was finished with her.
I go for tapping sessions.
I love tapping.
So when I go back to see Jack, this craziness is going to be something that we tap on.
Right. See so it'll be EFT you do. So there's I love EFT as well, but there's a guy called Robert G. Smith. He does faster EFT, and It's so next level. Like, there's only one person that I ever want to train with, and I've trained with Joe Dispenza, really good people, but there's only one guy now on my radar, and it's because of he's basically took hypnosis, NLP, EFT, every mind tool you can possibly think of, and his faster EFT version goes in at a cellular level, and you can literally change the memory at that cellular level. It's like memory reconciliation or something it's called. He's got like a 5-day free course. I'll send you the link. It's bloody amazing. And but he's in bloody Calabasas or something, so I'm trying to manifest him to come to Scotland. But it's tapping, but it's also all the other stuff. So not only do you tap at the negative emotional charge or whatever it might be, you can literally, because it's in your head. So say your mother called you ugly your whole life, right?
Yeah.
With his process, you can go back. So she can't fit in your head, right? So she did that to you when you were 5, and you're still replaying that at 45.
Yeah.
Then you're playing all the different parts. It's imaginary. Mm-hmm. And based on the fact that it's imaginary, that means you can use your amazing imagination and make it whatever the hell you want to make it. So somebody will have a bit of resistance to that. No, she was bad. That's my identity.
Yeah.
So you tap that out. You tap all that ego stuff out until you get to a point where there's no feeling, there's no emotional charge to it. And then you can actually imagine your mother going, you're the most beautiful one, because it's your head.
Yeah.
It's not saying the thing never happened. And I'm totally risking the fact that people being like, she's nuts, but it's fact. I've did it, I've used it. It's changing lives all over the world, and people are so, of course, is bad abuse, all that sort of stuff. Are like, but how can I possibly see that in a different way? But you actually can. And when you go back and change, all you're doing is you're changing how you hold it in your mind. So it doesn't mean that the person gets away with it. It doesn't mean, that they weren't bad. It just means that, for me, I care about how happy you are, how much you like yourself, how much you're enjoying life. And in order for you to do all of these things, what you're holding in here is going to determine how you feel on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And I don't care how many degrees a person's got or whatever, if they come in and they're not happy, then if you're miserable every day, really, what's the money and all the rest of it going to do anyway? And so there's tools out there, like his 5-day free courses. It's really cool. It really goes in depth about what it is, why it works. Yeah. It's got over 2,000 videos on YouTube. It's used very good for addiction. It's addiction, food, drug, alcohol, no matter what the addiction is, a person's trying to change a feeling. So we're all trying to change feelings. I used to try and change stress by smoking fags until I realised that you have to change the stress for the fags to go. So it's like, he talks about escapaholics. He's like 99.9% of people are all going outside, to try and change a feeling that's inside. That's going to go with them wherever they go. Your mind is your mind. You cannot escape it. And Robert teaches you then how to change how you hold a memory. So it doesn't say it never happened. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he'll go on about saying, so what will I be? If this has been my identity, if I've told this story, I've kept those neural connections so strong for 35 years, who will I be, like, if I'm not that? And he says it so pleasantly. He's like, you'll still be you, you'll just be happier. And it's true. It's like you build that a happier identity, and you start doing the things that you want to do. And I don't remember why I get into that tangent, but
because we're talking about EFT tapping. But then that comes down to, what's the story you're telling yourself? What's the narrative you're running in your head? Did somebody say something to you once and you've latched onto that, and then you've replayed that in your head all the time? Because it gives you a feeling, and whether that feeling is negative or positive, it gives you a feeling that you've clung on to. So if you can use an affirmation or something to switch it around, like you were saying right way back at the start of this, like doing positive affirmations have as much power as doing negative ones.
Oh my God, exactly. And people will argue with you and you're like, well, I was called fat and ugly when I was in a bad relationship over and over and over again. The whole world could say I wasn't fat and ugly, but it was said to me enough times that that went into my subconscious and started becoming a program in which I operated from. It took about 5 years to even think that that might not be true. And then I'm a 15-year work in progress. Like, I work on myself daily. So I'm like, I'm amazing. Like, oh my God, you know, and it's constant repetition that needs, because every thought will send an electrical impulse to your heart. So if you're thinking anxious thoughts, your heart starts racing, you start to sweat, you start shallow breathing, you're up in your fight or flight response.
Yeah.
If you start to think about somebody you love, a wee dog, like a wee baby, like a holiday, that also sends beautiful feelings around your body. And so you get a choice. And when you start learning to relax a wee bit more and practice being present, you get that space to have that choice. But if you're on autopilot and you're not working yourself, then no, you don't get a choice, because you're just going right to default, and you're running from other people's shit that you've downloaded.
And you end up then, that's when people have issues with whatever addiction it is, whether it's drugs or alcohol or food or sex or shopping or Netflix or whatever, because that feeling that they get numbs that pain.
Yes.
And
what I learned,
this takes that away, and it doesn't.
Nah, but what I learned was when I went and studied hypnosis, it was like, all right, I need to change the stress for the fags to go. And then the aha was, other things can change that feeling that aren't detrimental to me, like meditation, like hypnosis, like exercise, like positivity, like fueling your body properly. So you still change the feeling with an outside thing as well, but it's good things instead of going straight to the drugs or the alcohol, because the problems are still going to be there ultimately when you sober up.
Yeah. And then you can't, when you do come off like a drinking frenzy or whatever, you're then in that low energy, low mood, it then makes everything feel even worse. And it doesn't matter if it's drugs or alcohol or shopping, because when your credit card bill comes in, you're like, fuck. Whatever your little high was, you come back down off that high. So it's finding the other things that cultivate the high.
Yes, but that aren't detrimental.
That are that you can tap into because they're inside you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the meditation might be external, but it's actually internal, because it's taking you into you. Eating the healthy foods is nourishing inside you. It's bringing the good in.
Robert Smith, he did a lot of work with addiction. Like, his story's just phenomenal. You know, he was battered about with a hammer. He was chased home with a bunch of boys, and his stepdad, his mum had him when she was 14. Just very volatile alcoholics, you know. Stepdad get chased home one day with a bunch of boys, and he's like, oh my God, there's my stepdad, he's going to save me. And he smashes him about with a hammer in front of the boys. And so his story is not easy, and for him to go back and change that at a cellular level, he sees his dad doing different things, and it's not that he forgets that it happened, but if he feels better, it does not have that same pull in him. Is what it used to have. So it's honestly, I am going to become a faster EFTR practitioner. And he uses the word neuroplastician, which I love. And you shouldn't talk jargon, but I love that word. Like, I don't care.
There isn't really another way to describe neuroplasticity, because it's like the brain and moulding. It doesn't sound so good when you're talking about brain moulding. Like,
I think, do you know what's so amazing about neuroplasticity is that it's not even hard. Honestly, people think the brain's complex and it's difficult, and it's actually not. Like, I could teach somebody the simplest thing that would change their brain if they did it 5 or 6 times. And it's like that's not hard. Even just speaking to yourself in a different ways, brain training.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's very plastic and it's very movable. And once you start putting wee roadblocks up to some of those patterns that you've been doing by doing a basic breathing exercise, your wee neural pathways start to go a different direction. So it does take work, but it's not always hard work, I believe.
Yeah, I think, and when you start to get the buzz from it, it takes it any difficulty or willpower or determination it takes you to sit down and do it. That all starts. The more you do it, the stronger that willpower or determination or drive becomes. But you then are looking forward to it because you're getting the buzz, and you're chasing the good buzz rather than chasing the artificial.
I do a gratitude walk. I am often seen in Belliston Park running about like a nutter, right, shouting things. But the electricity that runs through my body, I do not care who's watching. The Queen could be there, because it's like incantations. So you're running around the park, and you don't need to run around the park. You can just do a normal walk in the street. But I choose to go to this running track in Belliston, and I'm like running around it, and I'm like, all I need is within me now. And you're just copying them, and honestly, like the buzz that's just vibing through your body, and you just feel like you could fly and it's like 15 minutes long. I'll send you it if you want it.
Yeah.
And it's just so positive, and then it's all about gratitude. I feel grateful for my arms, like a pure shout out, right? And you're in that park environment, you've got the chakra for your heart, and you've got the green trees, and any stress, this is crazy, right? I'm bordering on the edge of craziness now, but if I've had a lot in my mind, or I've been doing back-to-back sessions or whatever, I've been at a computer for too long, I'll go straight to the park. And I imagine my head is like full of leaves, right, for the trees. And I visualise them blowing and going behind me. And the wind's always blowing in Glasgow, so it's pretty good for that. But the instant relief that gives you is so simple, but so bloody effective.
Yeah, nature is amazing. I mean, I'm often seen walking around Springburn Park saying hello to the trees and thanking the trees and stuff like that, and then talking to the ducks.
I love it.
Chris just laughs at me. So we've been up picking elderflower recently, so we can make elderflower syrup and elderflower tea. And
I've got like an elderflower cordial just now that I just got.
Yeah, we just made one. But when we take the flowers off, I always thank the tree for the flowers and the blossoms that we can use. I'm like, thank you.
That
Morning,
is so
guys.
nice.
Talking to the ducks and the swans and their babies.
We need to hang out.
We'll get locked up together.
How nice would the world be though? Like we could so put the world to rights.
Well, if I start at the north of the city, you start at the south of the city, we'll meet in the middle.
Me with Tony Robbins pumping at my ghetto blaster. Oh man, that sounds very appealing to me actually.
Heard it here first, guys.
Watch this space. That was another thing actually about you that I loved, is you have great, is it catchphrases you would, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you, like your slogans for your books, like 9 rules to sort your shit out. How did you come up with that?
I'm gonna tell the truth here. One of my friends, like I self-published my book through Indie Authors World, and it was Kim that helped me come up with that title, because I was just like, I don't know what to call it. And she's like, things like nine rules of, or 9 steps to, or 6 steps, or whatever. She's like, people go, all right, it's quite an instruction manual, and the way that I wrote instruction manually. There's wee stories about my journey and stuff in the book, but it's at the end of it, it's like, here's an exercise, go and do this exercise, this is going to make you feel better. do this, do this, do this. So just to
I
help.
love
Like, so there's action points that are really straightforward to take. So it was Kim, like, because she was like, right, what is it that you were trying to do here? And I'm like, we're trying to sort people's shit. Right, okay, that's fine. So she helped me then come up with the 9 rules to sort your shit. Like,
That's
that
so cool. How did
that.
it feel to, so about 5 years ago, no longer than that, I tried to start writing a book, and it was like a fantasized version of my life, right? It's called Marrying It, and about this school. It was amazing, and all the children would come and get yoga and meditate, and Oprah was one of the teachers, and it was everything that I found it weirdly, apart from that kind of stuff, like so much of my life is I'm doing what was in this book, right? But I gave up halfway through because Mary had a baby, and she taught this baby in her womb, and it was all dead fantasy, like I was pure playing Mozart and all that, and my baby and blah blah blah. But then I went through my experience with my actual baby, and that sort of I cut the book short. So that was kind of how that came to an end. But it's bloody hard, like writing a book. Like, how did you feel? A, did you find it hard? And B, what was it like to actually finish it?
So I used to go to the iCafe on Woodland Road every Saturday after I taught my class. I teach Pilates in the Dance Teachers Association just in behind the stand. So I would go to the iCafe and I would sit there until I was bursting for the toilet, and I would just write, because if I went to the toilet I had to take my laptop and my bag and everything and traipse it in, so I would just sit there until I was absolutely bursting. So I would get a good 3 or 4 hours, and I did that every week until I had the bulk of the content of the book. Because originally I had started working with a publisher, so the publisher had given me some deadlines, so gave them all the content because somebody was waiting for it. So that really helped me get there. When they then got the content and read through it, now the guy was a friend of a friend, so he had read it and he's like, right, we can do something with this book, but you're not going to like the end product because we're going to water you down and we're going to change so much of it that you're not going to be in the book as much as you are just now. He went, and I don't think you'll like that finished product, so what I would suggest is you take this back and do with it what you want. So I was like, right, okay. And I was already friends with Kim at Indie Authors, and after I'd come away from that meeting, I came out and I started crying, and I wasn't crying because I was sad that he was handing the book back to me. I was crying because I was like, shit, I have to do this by myself. That's the message that the universe has given me is, this is all on you. You don't need somebody else to help you do it. This is all about you. So I messaged Kim and said to her what had happened. I was like, oh, I'm not going ahead with the publisher. And she messaged me back and she was like, this is going to sound weird, but that's good news.
I knew you were going to say that there.
So she then, because that's what her business does, is helps authors get books to publish. She then helped me do what I needed to do to get it from that to actual being a physical book. And when it was weird, the book came out a month before I started getting unwell. So my book came out in December 2016, and then I started taking unwell early, sort of late January 2017. And even now I'm like that was a lot of that was my shit coming up of I've created something that's got to go out there. I don't want to be seen. I want to hide away now. So the launch of the book wasn't a big deal or anything like that, because I put it out there and then disappeared off the face of the earth because I had to go and deal with ill health. So I think a lot of that was connected with that as well, of my insecurities of, oh my God, people are going to read this. What does that mean?
I've went through this. I wonder if you did too when you started putting yourself online, because it does take courage. Yep. And I came off social media for years because I couldn't be bothered with fake ass bullshit, people trying to I'm so about good relation. Like if I don't lift you and you don't lift me, like don't follow me just to check. I'm so not interested in that superficial level stuff. And I've just lost my trail of thought. Where was I going with that?
Putting yourself out there.
Oh, aye. And so it took me years again to actually go back out there again, and it's not been that long, to be honest, probably just over a year, and it does take courage, and I just started giving less fucks about what people thought of me, I think, as I kept liking myself more and kept fulfilling my own soul and letting go of a lot of stupid ideas and the wee people in your head that just is so irrelevant. And so I totally relate to that. Like it is. What were you like putting a podcast out? Like, did you have any qualms about anything?
Hundreds.
Did you?
I'm going to put it out there, and I don't want people to listen to it, but I do want people to listen to it. And one of the guys that used to mentor me when I used to be a master trainer for an indoor cycling company, so I was teaching other people how to teach spin, but one of the things that we did was we'd go to a big convention in Blackpool, and we'd be in the Opera House in the Winter Gardens on the stage with like 60 bikes, and I was all in my head. And I remember Doyle saying to me, he's like, that Jen, this isn't about you, it's about them, and if you keep your focus on making sure that they're all right and they're enjoying the experience and they're getting something from this, doesn't matter what you do or what you say, as long as that's what the point of delivery is. And that just helped me, because I don't like people looking at me. I don't particularly like people listening to me if I'm talking about something that's not going to be of benefit to somebody else. So anytime I'm doing something, I'm like, this isn't about me, this is what can somebody else get from it. And as long as that's where my focus is. So when I was doing the podcast, it was like, what can I teach people? What do I want people to know? What do I want to share that's going to help somebody else when I'm delivering a class, when I'm delivering a session, when I'm doing my Instagram stories or whatever it is. And Instagram stories really helped me get in front of a camera, because you do it, you put it up, and it disappears in 24 hours. That helps break that self-consciousness. And when I do the Jen and your jammy stuff, most often it's straight off the back of a meditation. So the ego brain is not really kicked in at this point. It's like, right, I want to share this message. I ramble something. Sometimes I've come away going, I have no idea what I've just said there, but I've put it out in the world. And I don't go back and watch it, apart from when you said to me the last week, oh, I really liked what you said about that. And I was like, what did I say about that? And I had to go back and watch it. When I went back and watched it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's quite wise.
I definitely developed more of a muscle, so I can watch my stuff back and I can listen to myself, but I relate so much to, that was what it was for me as well. It was like, I have overcame so much in my life. I have helped a lot of people at this point now, and I know some stuff that other people would benefit from. So it was having the bigger why was super important for me. But going back to the listening to yourself, like, I used to have such an insecurity about my voice, right? Like, for years. And I used to go to public speaking classes, and my confidence with it was crap. And then when I went to my hypnosis course, like, people were, the first time this had ever happened, I don't know what it was. Somebody's obviously sold me a bad idea about my voice at some point that I've obviously believed. But they all started saying, oh my God, your voice is perfect for this. And honestly, like, that was, I resisted that information for way longer than I should have. And I just could not believe, and because I can speak slow and quite deep and monotone maybe at times, but it ended up serving me in the end. So I think because I would make recordings for clients, I would be having to listen to my voice a lot, and I think it was just brain training. Now I can just listen, although I'm not always 1,000,000% happy. Like, I can watch and listen to myself. I can still sit and go, oh my God, and pick at things, but I very quickly shut her up. Yeah.
I think she's always going to live there with us.
Yes.
Like, that's, and her purpose is always to protect us from bad things that have happened in the past. Is that, remember, this happened the last time, and you can, when you have that disassociation with her, it helps to be able to put her in check faster when she's full of shit. And equally when she's all right, actually, you're right this time, I need to be cautious of this person or whatever.
I teach people that actually, so our brain is always just trying to protect us, right? And it's just that when we were wee, these coping mechanisms that we developed was to keep us safe at that specific time. But when you grow up, your brain doesn't automatically update those systems, so it's just going to keep using them to keep you safe. And oh God, don't phone me, whoever you are. You're still there.
Can't take a phone call just now, I'm recording.
That was funny. And so fear then is, to me, I can't remember where I got it from, but I heard somebody saying it and I thought that's amazing. So fear then, if your brain's always trying to keep you safe and you're feeling fear, then fear is, I say fear is love, because if something's trying to keep you safe, then it's loving you, it's looking after you. So to try and reframe that fear, you can see it as love.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's amazing. I love that.
It's so true though, when you just look at things in a different way.
I know. Everything just needs to be reframed. Ram Dass talks about a picture. It's like you've got a picture of a cloud, and if your frame is just to the inside of that cloud, all you see is the grey of the cloud. But if you can take that step back, you can see the edges of the cloud and the blue sky behind it, because it's always there. And it's just being able to go, right, where does my frame stop? Can I take that frame a little bit wider? Can I step back to see a bigger picture of what the story is?
I had a client just say to me last week, she said she's great with like analogies, right? And she went, this is how I see what's happened with us. She went, it was as if I was looking at this grey picture. She said, and I couldn't figure out what I was missing. But actually now, what I've noticed is that as I step back, it's an elephant. And she said, so what happened was I came to you and I couldn't figure out, because I was doing all this stuff and everything was great and I couldn't figure out what I was missing. And you're like, oh, you need to love yourself. And she was like, And, you know, with 2 sessions, with a fortnight apart, and honestly, this girl sat, I kind of cried, like she is the most beautiful soul again. She's just so lovely and she's amazing in so many ways. That recording's just stopped, Jen. I don't know why at my end. Is yours stopped?
No, it still says it's recording here. I'm just wondering if, because we've been on for quite a long time.
What time is it?
It's 1:30. It's after 1:30.
I might have a client at 1:30.
We better wrap this up.
I'll pass on that last tangent. Do you want to just wrap up?
We better, so that you can get to your client.
Yeah.
I think we could probably sit here for the rest of the day.
Yes, totally. We'll maybe do another episode.
Yeah. Best place for people to find you on social?
Instagram, I am most present there. Facebook's too negative, so Mrs. Brain Trainer on Instagram is the best place to find me. What about you?
Instagram as well, and I am @Jen Wilson on Instagram.
And our both podcasts are just the same, eh? Mine's is all Mrs. Brain Trainer across all platforms.
And mine's I am Jen Wilson across all platforms. But what we can do is in the show notes, we can put links to each other's websites, each other's all that stuff. And then it's each other's podcasts, and then it's easy for everybody to find. So, yeah.
Oh, well.
You better look after your client. I'll get this downloaded and sent over to you so you can get it on the call to get your bits edited and stuff like that.
Yay, thanks. So good to talk to you.
So good to talk to you. Take care.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.